Hello, this is Hot Indonesia, and welcome to all of you watching us in Bangkok. I'm Dalton Tananak in Jakarta. Here is this week's HI Hotlist. Breaking point. After extending emergency pandemic rules, then what? Going for gold. Are our Olympic athletes meeting expectations? And should we bid for the games here? And cross-dresser, why this infected passenger thought he could get away in his wife's clothing. Here are my co-hosts, Sandrina Malakiano, Deputy CEO of Polmark Indonesia, joining us this week from Istanbul, Turkey, and Millie Lukito, CEO of the Mobiliari Group, in her usual seat in her home in Jakarta. Hot topic number one, breaking point. The government extended emergency rules on Sunday in many parts of the country, and that meant most businesses staying closed and movement restricted. The president will announce on Monday what will happen next. But for those with lost jobs and in financial desperation, it's already a day-to-day survival story, and that is not an exaggeration. I think you'll agree with me, ladies. Unlike in the U.S., for example, where government aid money is sent directly to everyone's bank accounts, I don't know one person, and I've asked, I don't know one person who got the promised financial help, either you line up to get it or transfer it to your bank account. Millie, to you first, something's got to happen.
Something's got to happen. In Jakarta, almost 40%, of course, live on daily wage. For them, this kind of a situation where there is neither here nor there, they completely lost hope, Dalton. And the government at this moment, unfortunately, Indonesia has reached breaking point. There is nowhere we can manage or we can stop or we can change the direction of the COVID situation because it has already gone completely out of hands. So what the government can do at the moment is to really adhere to a vaccination program and also to keep enforcing, especially to the grassroots, to want to uphold the important health protocol.
Yeah, and we got to get money to people. The government, it's taxpayers' money. They got to get it back to the people like they do in other countries. Now, Sandrina, for you, and I'm sorry to say this, it's very personal because your brother's seriously ill with COVID-19 and other problems, and we wish him well and a quick recovery. Now, we've been advocating for a complete lockdown from last year. Are you okay with the president giving in to economic pressures and opening up again?
Come on, Dalton. It's like we've been listening to the same old story over and over and over again throughout the pandemic. On one side, we've seen like the government prioritizing more on the economic and business world above the welfare of the people. So what have we got a receipt so far in terms of results? Almost nothing. On one hand, the pandemic has not been like properly managed. It has been ongoing for way too long, especially compared to our neighboring countries. On the other side, if we see the government, they say that they are doing things to help the people in terms of economic recovery. That too, we have not seen any evident or success. The orientation is like more in the business sector. It's not people oriented. So for me personally, as a citizen, what I'd like to say to our government is that please be more serious.
We got to do something. So, Millie, how do we recover from what seems to be the absolute bottom here? If the president on Monday says the emergency restrictions are off, what needs to be done? What do we have to do?
Well, at the moment, at least the banking sector, they still have plenty of resources, which is, of course, from the business point of view, it's good to know that at least there are resources, funding are still there. But as far as the government, can you imagine most businesses, they are now closed. If not closed, demand are really low. So of course, many big businesses, they also cannot they cannot generate revenue, and therefore they cannot pay taxes, and so many. This is like a complete and perfect storm. So the government is in a delicate situation now, having to manage the business sector. At the same time, they also have to manage something that is such an unprecedented as COVID, and take care of the public health. It is not easy. But again, at least our banking sector are still aman, or safe at the moment.
So what do you, Millie, you're saying that what? People can go to them for loans, or their savings are safe, or what do you mean by the
At least for businesses, they can now negotiate with banks, and get a more the banks are now more cooperative in wanting to help the business sector, going in on a longer term, and being able to survive in a longer term, and being able to pay their workers in more longer term. So I think
I have a friend
But
who
Dalton,
yeah.
if
ahead.
I may, if I may add to what Millie just said. Okay, she's viewing this matter from a business person's perspective, but as you mentioned earlier, common people who don't have businesses, who have lost their jobs, they are struggling to just put food on the table. So, aside from helping the business sector, which is what we've been seeing so far, the government's orientation is more focusing on the business world, on the economic support for business owners. It should be more people oriented.
Yeah, and Millie, your point back on banking, I know a friend who went to her bank and said, can we do away with the interest that I owe? And they agreed. So she just has to pay principal on a business that she has. So you're right, banks are in a negotiable mood right now. A last point real quickly, Sandrina, you're in Istanbul on your way to the US for family affairs. Are you getting questions and concerns about what's happening here in Indonesia?
A lot of people believe, this is according to our tour guide, Mr. Ahmed, that the Turkish people believe that they have passed the peak of the pandemic, and even though they haven't completely managed to overcome the situation, they believe that they are winning this fight. It appears that me, my husband, and our two daughters are amongst the very few who are still strictly adhering and practicing protocols. They don't have any social distancing here.
Okay, but
Realizing
Sandrina,
that,
they're apparently past where we are right now in Indonesia, so they feel, I guess, confident, and they've got their case levels down to where they feel is satisfactory. So, yeah, we're not criticizing them, but the main thing, you stay safe and you do your own protection. I mean, that's
but they have a lot of tourists coming in, Dalton.
okay.
So, if you ask me realizing the fact of what we are facing in Indonesia, it terrifies me. I mean, I'm a bit paranoid, perhaps, but then if I see a lot of people, I would just move back and keep my distance. It's amazing. I mean, in a way, don't we all wish that this could be done with no health threats? If we go to places, we could just freely mingle with others. It's good to see, but still, I can't put aside the fact that I am still terrified, because you don't know. I mean, if you're facing somebody who has no symptoms,
Yeah, I think
and they
we'll all feel that way for a long
Yeah,
time. And the
I
main
know.
thing, you stay safe and you have your confidence in what you're doing, and hopefully we'll get back to that kind of situation here in Indonesia as well. Yeah. Okay. Hot Endo will continue shortly with Going for Gold. Are Olympic expectations being met?
welcome to Foodiepedia. Every week in this program, I will introduce you to one of Indonesia's fabulous food items. Yummy. Beautiful. Now, I'm ready to cook. Let's go to the kitchen. It's done. Let's meet to eat.
Foodiepedia on the Indonesia Channel.
I'm Trần Minh Ngân of VCCTV Net Việt in Hanoi.
I'm Thairat Thomya of Thailand's Thairat TV in Bangkok.
I'm Monica Sambodet from the National Television of Cambodia in Phnom Penh.
I'm Raymond Goh of Malaysia's TV3 in Kuala Lumpur.
I'm Glenda Chong of Singapore's Channel News Asia.
I'm Raisa Chantami of the Indonesia channel at the ASEAN Secretariat in Jakarta.
This is your weekly look into the dynamic Southeast Asia region.
ASEAN Today on the Indonesia Channel.
You are watching Hot Indonesia with Sandrina, Millie, and me. Here's hot topic number 2, going for gold. Indonesia did some early celebrating at the Tokyo Olympics with 2 weightlifting medals in the first weekend. This weekend, our badminton players entered final rounds as among the favorites. Now, in 2016, Indonesians won 3 medals. The total since the country's first Summer Games in 1952 until this year is 32. Sandrina, I think we are where we expected to be at this point in the Summer Games.
Maybe, but honestly, Dalton, we must admit that as a country this big, one of the highest number of population in the world, Indonesia could and should actually achieve more than what we have been achieving so far. Why aren't we there yet? That is the big question, right? I mean, we have so many people to choose from, to train, and to find very good athletes. So first of all, we don't have a proper, comprehensive, integrated, sustainable, systematic sports training program. I think we discussed this also in our previous episode.
Yes, we did.
Yeah. Secondly, the sports competition climate here is not as good as in many other countries. Our athletes still also have very limited chances, opportunities to compete in international events if we compare ourselves to, say, our neighboring countries. And the development of sports in Indonesia is often hindered by the lack of infrastructure, human resources, facility limitations, including fundings. So there's a lot of homework that needs to be done. But
good points.
More
And
attention.
we've made them before, and I just want to take this actual time to celebrate a little bit, and that's why I started by saying, we won a couple medals. Now, you know how exciting it can be because you've all heard the Philippines won its first gold medal ever in the history of its participation in weightlifting as well. This weekend, as I mentioned, we have our badminton matches where we have had our greatest success and only gold medals. Millie, Indonesia rightly takes pride in this sport, badminton.
Yes, badminton, and they are now on the way to doing really well. But I personally think our contingent this time they are doing extremely well. And they are making us proud. And my only wish is for foreign media to want to write more about Indonesia's achievement in this year's Olympics, rather than only focusing on how overwhelming it is, the COVID situation in Indonesia. Please, foreign media, come on. Indonesia is doing extremely well in the Olympics this
Well,
year.
Millie, that's a perspective, right? Because right now I think we have a total of 3 medals as of Friday morning. So that's not a big total.
It's a beginning. It's just the beginning. Hopefully, as Millie said, I mean, with better coverage and maybe also like, excuse me for cutting in, but I do have faith and belief as badminton is coming up that we will gain more, and it's extremely challenging for them. No spectators, no supporters. It's an extreme situation for athletes to compete. Don't you agree?
I understand.
Yes,
No, ladies, I got it.
situation. Come on, in the midst of such all the overwhelming situation of COVID, and also a lot of challenges, and then a lot of high expectations, and yet they are performing rather very well, I would say.
Yeah, and as I said, it gives us something to cheer about in these times. Now, question about a situation that happened a day before the games opened last week, actually. You guys remember Indonesia had put in a bid for the 2032 games, and it lost. The announcement came last Thursday that Brisbane had gotten it, the summer games. How disappointing was that, Sandrina, in your opinion?
Well, honestly, right now, I would see it as a blessing in disguise because with the pandemic, I think the government should focus more on revitalizing the situation, the economic challenges that we are facing, because preparing for such a huge international event would cost so much, and we are not in the right situation to do so. If I'm not mistaken, we are bidding for 2032, right?
Yeah, we were.
Again?
We lost 2032, and
Oh,
now
so-
we're gonna. They said that we're gonna bid for 2036.
Oh,
You know,
36.
the next games after that. And my question is that realistic, or are we still dreaming, Millie? What do you think, Mill?
Oh, I think by 40 it will be realistic. But come on, in 2032, okay, we lost to Brisbane, but this is exactly my point. The foreign media, they are trained to only focus and catch on Indonesia's bad. Anything bad about Indonesia being the epicenter of this, epicenter of disaster, this and that. They are the number one on the front line to want to write about it. But if we can manage our public relations better, I'm sure we can position our country in such a way that, like Sandrina said, we have huge talent pool of talents of athletes. We have potential athletes here.
Yeah, but Millie, being a member of the media, I gotta defend it a little bit because it's true. I mean, we had the most cases in the world for a couple days this past month, and I think what the mission.
Writing enough about our athletes' achievements in the summer games.
Okay, but the priority message, I guess, is dealing with a global pandemic, and sports are nice, but it's kind of a distraction, a nice distraction.
Still 15 more years now. 2036 is 15 more years from now. So at least another president away. It will be like 2 more presidential elections. Quite some time to prepare ourselves, our country. Hopefully, maybe 2040, right? Maybe.
We'll get there.
It's
Yeah,
something
we'll get there.
to think about and something to plan for, and you got to make your bids, years ahead of time. So hey, let's do it. Let's put a bid in anyway. More Hot Indo is ahead, ladies, with cross-dresser. Desperate measures led this husband to pose as his wife. Not good.
I'm Caitlin Turner, and welcome to Yoga Bliss. Dropping your hands to the mat, just step it back and out and up to the sky.
Yoga Bliss, only on the Indonesia Channel.
What's up, iPoppers? It's me, Arjina Glenda, and you are watching iPop Playlist.
Marilah berlari, hey, 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 hey. Semuanya perasaan, rasa cinta ku persembahkan untukmu di dalam lubuk hatiku. Tolong lihat aku dan jawab pertanyaanku.
Ditunggu, bagaimana dengan pacarku? Ku tak mau selingkuh
Denganmu ku temukan cahaya hati.
iPop on the Indonesia Channel.
You're watching Hot Indonesia from Jakarta and Turkey. Here's hot topic number 3, cross-dresser. Now, this husband apparently wanted to get home to North Maluku to deal with his COVID infection earlier this month, but he knew he couldn't board a flight with a positive test. So he put on his wife's headscarf and veil, used her negative results and ID, and was able to fly. But he was spotted by a flight attendant after changing to his clothing, and he was reported. Authorities in Ternate say that he can now be charged criminally by using false documents. Leaders in Jakarta are now saying, and they're working on this law, making any violation of health protocols a crime. Millie, if he had stayed in his wife's clothes, he probably wouldn't have gotten caught.
Yeah, right. But this, I'm afraid, some Indonesians are way too creative, Dalton. Plus, I think what I'm worried about that this incident may give inspirations to others to do the same. What do you think? I'm speechless.
I hope not. I mean, it's not funny, actually. It's very dangerous. Now, Sandrina, it's not only a health offense, but you got to think it raises, in critics' minds, the issue of headscarves and veils and security measures going through the airport and disguising yourself. It's not what a country needs or a religion.
Well, unfortunately, Dalton, headscarves or veils or hijabs are sometimes used for wrong purposes. Have you noticed, like, if we see on TV, for example, or in the news, that if there is a corruption case and the villain, the convicted person or the suspect is a Muslim woman, so most of them would appear and attend trial wearing a head cover, whereby usually on a daily basis they do not wear the veil or the hijab. So it is used to create a certain impression in court, in front of the prosecutors, the judges, and in front of in the eyes of the general public. So
yeah, that's for sympathy reasons,
yeah.
But the guy in Ternate was
also,
trying to make believe he's a woman.
In terms of that guy, I mean, what he did was like super egocentrical, super dangerous, super ignorant. Of course, underlining what Millie said, this guy has to be brought to justice, be given sanctions so that others do not follow his crazy footsteps. This also shows that our system,
Yeah,
Our
so,
system is pretty weak, Dalton.
so and
Charge, but how
don't
do
create
you-
copycats. That's
how
the
do you
police one, right?
enforce this in the future? How can you ask anybody in hijab or in burqas to open, and
Oh, that's a
reveal
good
their
point. See,
identity?
that's a good
It's
point.
inappropriate, right? So how?
No, like wearing the mask now, even you have to open your mask to show that you match your ID,
Yes.
identification card.
Okay, but
What you
the
need,
health mask, like
no, wait. You need a special chamber with female officials.
Yeah.
That is, you have to go there, and then you have to prove that you are the same person.
Okay.
I mean, I experienced that. I see that in other countries. They have special chambers where female officials would then match your identity.
yeah, they should have took this guy in that chamber and opened it, and he has a beard or
Yeah.
something. It kind of reveals what he has. Okay, got to move on, ladies. Feedback time now. Pascalis had this to say about the radio ban of Bruno Mars songs in West Java that we talked about because of objectionable content. Good thing I only listen to Japanese and Korean songs. And from the TIC YouTube page, Marty had this to say, a new friend is here, sending my support from the Philippines. Your show is really interesting. Here's how to contact us with your feedback. Email at hotindo@theindonesiachannel.com or comment through our Hot Indonesia or Indonesia Channel Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube pages. Final words from Turkey, Sandrina.
For many people, this pandemic has become a very personal matter. Including me, as Dalton mentioned, my only sibling is now fighting for his life. He's been treated in the ICU for more than 2 weeks. And what is heartbreaking is that if you have loved ones or people you know who are ill, treated in the hospital or in isolation, you cannot be with them. You cannot reach them. And so if you are healthy, and you have someone you know who has COVID, please, because mental health for them is really crucial to get well. Send them a text or just make a phone call. Give them moral support, strength, share with them positive vibes. This might seem so small and simple. It's easy to do. It takes a few minutes. But believe me, it could be life-changing, and it would mean really so much for them to be able to recover and fight the COVID disease they are experiencing right now.
Final words, Millie.
Yeah, while we are also praying for your brother, Sandrina, all the best to him, and of course, get well soonest for him. At the same time, we are also seeing a lot of recovery from COVID in Indonesia, and we should be able to also celebrate even the smallest win that our country can get at the moment. But never forget, of course, the danger of COVID, because this variant are also infecting a lot of children. So we still need to be on guard and adhering to health protocol.
And my final words, now more than ever, many people here in Indonesia are hurting. For those with little savings and surviving on daily wages, a pandemic nearing a year and a half has been devastating. If you are fortunate enough to have enough to survive, share what you can. Deliver supplies to the needy. Give a meal to a homeless person. Give money to somebody who asks, no matter how small. We must help each other. We just have to. And that's Hot Indonesia for this week. For Sandrina Malakiano in Turkey and Millie Lukito, I'm Dalton Tanonak in Jakarta. Thank you for joining us. Please join us again next time.